The U.S. Supreme Court rejected an 11th hour attempt by an Okaloosa County man to avoid execution. It clears the day, that is, for the state to go ahead and put 60-year-old Edward Zakrzewski to death tomorrow for the 1994 murders of his wife and 2 children. Zakrzewski has spent more than half of his life on death row. As News 13's Maggie McGuigan tells us, those years behind bars have been a continuous legal battle to stay alive.
The worst crime scene I had ever seen.
Bearing a last-hour stay of execution, Thursday will be Edward Zakrzewski's last day on Earth. The Okaloosa County man is scheduled to die by lethal injection for the murders of his wife and 2 children over 30 years ago.
In our justice system, certainly finality is something that is very slow coming sometimes. But there's no question in my mind that justice will be served.
In June of 1994, Okaloosa County Sheriff's deputies responded to the Zakrzewski home in Mary Esther for a wellness check. Edward had failed to show up for work at Eglin Air Force Base.
They found the 3 victims, his wife and both children. They had all been savagely murdered.
The discovery triggered a months-long manhunt. Weeks before, Edward and his wife Sylvia were experiencing marriage problems.
What he claimed was that his wife had placed a lot of pressure upon him because her family did not care for the fact that they had mixed-race grandchildren. That it was a sort of a racist situation where her family wanted her to have married a pure-blood Korean and had pure-blood Korean children. His wife had threatened to divorce him to rectify that situation.
On June 9th, Edward bought a machete during his lunch break, then went back to work as normal. He then went home, sharpened the machete, and waited for his wife and kids to return home.
His wife and he were alone in the bedroom where he bashed her in the head with a crowbar, took a rope and wrapped it around her neck and strangled her to make sure that she was finished. And then he went to the bathroom where he laid the machete behind the bathroom door.
He then called his children into the bathroom, one by one, to brush their teeth. His 7-year-old son, Edward, was first.
He admitted that when his son was facing the sink and the mirror, that he grabbed the machete, raised it to strike, and that he could see that Edward saw, his child Edward saw him do so in the mirror and raised his arm to defend himself.
Zakrzewski killed his son, placed his body in the tub, then called 5-year-old Anna into the bathroom.
She apparently saw everything that had happened to Edward. The bloodstain pattern expert, Jan Johnson, testified that Anna had to be in a kneeling position over the edge of the tub, where obviously her brother was laying dead in the tub with blood everywhere.
Zakrzewski laid Anna's and Sylvia's bodies in the tub, then left home. He emptied their bank account, drove to Orlando, and hopped on a flight to Hawaii. Zakrzewski lived in Maui until he ran out of money. He moved to Molokai, one of the smallest islands, where he ran across a pastor. He invited him into their church community, where Edward lived under the alias Michael Ray Green.
After about 2 weeks there, they finally invited him into the home to watch television one night. At that time, the television show Unsolved Mysteries came on, and his murder of his family was featured. When the preacher saw the picture of Ed, he turned to him and he said, "Brother Michael, that looks a lot like you."
Zakrzewski did not respond, went outside to his shack, and left a note that said, "I'm sorry." He then turned himself in to the local police. Zakrzewski pled guilty and requested to go straight to the penalty phase of the trial. He testified about how he had found God and claimed he had some mental health issues. The jury recommended the death penalty for 2 of his victims and life for the 3rd, but the judge overrode that decision and sentenced Zakrzewski to death for all 3 victims. Bearing a last-minute stay, those death sentences will be carried out at the Florida State Prison, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday. In Okaloosa County, Maggie McWiggin, News 13, Panhandle Strong.
Again, the U.S. Supreme Court just rejected his appeal to stay the execution this evening. Zakrzewski will be the 9th person executed in Florida this year. That would be the most in 1 year since the state reinstituted capital punishment in 1976.